Hello AFDA students and welcome to our video lesson 14. We're going to be talking about something called slope-intercept form today. What we want to be able to do is use slope and y-intercept to graph lines and write the equations of lines in something called slope-intercept form. Now, terminology we have, you already know a little bit about slope. We've even talked about y-intercept very briefly. And here's a big part of today is this slope-intercept form is where we're going to be using that terminology a lot today. So let's take a look at this. What is, example 1 we're going to look at, what is the y-intercept of each of the following lines? So, first thing we have to know is what's the y-intercept? Well, that's where a line crosses or intercepts the y-axis, okay? So the y-intercept is where the line crosses, or a line crosses the y-axis. Okay? Now, it also has, if you remember from the last lesson, it has abbreviation of B. Okay? So let's look at this line A. It crosses, how far up from the origin does that cross? Well, we just have to count blocks here from our graph. You may have to zoom in on your Chromebook on your notes there to see that a little bit better. But we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to find where that crosses. So the y-intercept for line A is 5. For line B, which is this one right here, it crosses right through the origin. So we're going 0, so that y-intercept is said to be 0. And if we look at line C down here, that's going to have positive slope, but we're looking for the y-intercept, which is down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that one looks like, excuse me, is that 4 or 5? Looks like it's maybe closer to 4. So it looks like -4 is going to be that one. Now, so that's what the y-intercept is. Let's scroll down and see how we might use y-intercept a little bit today. Example 2. Example 2 wants us to use the slope and the y-intercept and graph y equals 3x minus 1. Well, obviously at this point you know that you could probably type that in your Desmos calculator and see that graph. But if we understand something that we sort of wrote last time, our last lesson, we wrote down this. We wrote down y sub 1 tilde mx sub 1 plus b in our last lesson. Okay? We use that to help us find slope, and that's the first time we mentioned that b value or the y-intercept. Well, slope-intercept form says this. It just says y equals mx plus b. Well, you know that your m, okay, that's going to be your slope. You just found out that b is your y-intercept. Now, some people think about it this way. Some people think about the b is where they want to begin, and their m is how they want to move. Okay? So, for this guy right here, our b value is right here. This is our b right up there. Let me change pins there for you. That b value is right there. That's -1. Our m value is that +3. So let's see if we can graph this guy. We want to begin on our graph at -1 on the y-axis. So all we have to do is go down 1 and put our beginning point there. Now our slope is 3, okay? So we have a slope of 3 and a b of 1. Now slope, again, a lot of times it's in the form of a fraction. So I'm going to turn this into a fraction by putting a 1 under there. So I'm going to count up 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3, and over to the right 1. Because I use my delta y over my delta x to find out where the next point is. Now I could go up 3 and over 1, up 3 and over 1, and do that for a very long time, maybe the rest of my life. But with just 2 points, I can sketch the graph of that line. Now, Again, this is slope-intercept form right there. Y equals mx plus b. Now, it says using slope and y-intercepts, write an equation of a line. Okay? And that's what we're going to be doing here in a second. We have slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We just mentioned that. M is the slope. And b is the y-intercept. And if you have those two things, if you have m and b, you can write the equation of a line. Okay? So that's our goal for today, is using slope and y-intercepts to be able to write the equation of the line. Let's see how we use this here. More in example 3. So, over here on the right side, we have a graph of a line, sort of back where we started today. You could easily identify where the y-intercept is. That's 3 units up from the origin, 1, 2, 3. So our b value here is going to be 3. You remember how we were going to find slope. All we need are 2 points, and maybe I'll highlight that point and that point right there. And before, we'd put like delta y over delta x, and that was our slope. So our delta y is up 1, our delta x is over to the right 2. So our slope is 1/2 for that line. Now, all you have to do to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form is take this value of m, 1/2, write that in front of the x, take this value of b, which is our y-intercept, which is 3, and write that sort of behind the x. Now you've written the equation of a line in slope-intercept form from a graph. Now, I'm going to probably put little boxes in instead of, hopefully on your notes it has little blanks there, but I'm going to maybe like little put drop-in boxes there, because again, the two things you need to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form are m and b, slope and y-intercept. Now, we're going to look at possibly 3 different scenarios or type questions that can be asked of you. So let's get started with those real quick. The first one asks you, given the equation of a line with a slope of -3/8 that passes through the y-axis at 7. So it gives you m right here. That's your slope. It gives it to you right there. And it gives you b right there. So all you got to do is write the equation of the line. Now remember, I said I was going to write it maybe a little different. I'm going to think about it as y equals some m value that I'm going to put in front of the x plus some b value that I'm going to put behind the x. So all I have to do is drop in those values. If I have those, I've got -3/8 and I have a positive 7. So the equation of that line is going to be y equals -3/8 x plus 7. Now, how could you check that if you wanted to? Well, obviously, you could take that equation and pop it in your Desmos calculator and look at it and see what that looks like. Now, 2 more to go here, folks. Two more to go. So let me clear this out for us. This says, given the following information, write the equation of a line through the points 4, 8, and 2, 4. Now again, over here on the side, I might be thinking about y equals some m in front of the x plus some b behind the x. Now, I could go ahead and find this, the slope here by using my slope formula if I wanted to. Could I use my Desmos to find both of these? Could I use my Desmos? Absolutely. You remember on your Desmos, you hit the plus sign, you enter both those points in the table, and it'll give you m and b. So the answer is yeah. Okay, I definitely can do that. But let's do it by hand for all people that like to work out some of this by hand. I'm going to go ahead and maybe make that x and that y, that x and that y. And I'm going to call this point 2 and this guy point 1. Now remember my slope formula says that m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I can pop those in real fast. Those values, my y sub 2 is 8 minus my y sub 1 is 4 all over top of my x sub 2 which is 4 minus my x sub 1 which is 2. So I got 8 minus 4 which is 4 all over 4 minus 2 which is 2. I've got a slope of 2. So I can put that in right here if I wanted to. Now, how do I find the b value? Well, I only have one formula with b. What is it? Y equals mx plus b. So let me see if I can change pens here real quick. And I'm just going to write that down right over here. Y equals mx plus b. Well, I have my m. It's right here. So I'm going to put in 2 for my m. Now, I have x's and y's over here. I can just pick one of them. Doesn't matter which one you pick. I'm going to pick this one right here. So my x value is 2. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to put in a y value of 4. So I'm going to put that where the y was. And all plus some b value. Now, the m and x are multiplying, so we're going to multiply those values, 2 times 2, and get 4. 4 plus some b value is equal to 4. Well, you guys know that that value has to be 0, or you can subtract 4 from both sides. So now I found my b value. So my final equation that I have is y is equal to 2x plus 0. You could write it shorthand like that. Y is equal to 2x. Again, check it out on the Desmos if you'd like to. Last problem here, folks. Okay? It says, write the equation of the line through the point negative 6, 4 and a slope of 1/3. Can you use the Desmos? All the folks using my Desmos, let me know how they're going to do that. Chat me on that. Now, I'm not going to use the Desmos. I'm going to go with this little playbook over here. I've got y is equal to some m times my x plus some other b that looks like that. Those are 2 things I need. I already have my slope. It's right here. So I'm going to write in 1/3 there. Oops, that's not very neat. Hopefully that looks a little better. Only thing I need is my b. Now up here, all I used, the formula that I used to find b was y equals mx plus b, that slope-intercept form. So let me write that down. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, I have my m, which is 1/3. It's going to multiply with an x. The x I have right here is what? Negative 6. Do I have a y? Sure do. It's right there beside the x in the ordered pair. So the y is 4. And all that's going to be plus some b right there. Now, 1/3 times negative 6, that's 1 times negative 6 divided by 3. I think that's going to be negative 2 plus some b value has got to equal 4. So I add 2 to both sides, and I have b is equal to 6. So I'm going to take and write a 6 in there. Now I'm going to clean all that up. Here's my final equation. Y is equal to 1/3 x plus 6. So a couple things that you have to know. Need 2 things to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. They happen to be the slope and the y-intercept, abbreviated as m and b. You already know how to find m. Okay? So the big challenge for you today is find b. If they give you 2 points, you can pop it in your Desmos. If they give you a point and the slope, you might have to use y equals mx plus b to find your b value. Folks, thanks for watching.